Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. In this video, let us take a look at what are arrays. So arrays are the collection of data types. So there are mainly two types of arrays, dynamic arrays and static arrays. If the length or the size of the array changes over time, then such arrays are called dynamic arrays. If the length or the size of the array does not change, if it is fixed, then such arrays are called static arrays. And we are going to be implementing dynamic arrays. Okay. And also there are two subcategories of arrays. So the first category is called homogeneous array. So let's take an example. So here is an array and it is going to have these values. So let's say 1, 3, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. If you take a look at this array, you can see all the elements inside this array are of similar data types, that is integer data type. Okay. So such arrays are called homogeneous arrays. And let's take an example for heterogeneous. So let's say we have this array and it has these values. So 1, 1.5, string A, and complex value 1 plus 3j. Okay. If you take a look at the elements inside this array are of different data types. So one is of integer data type, 1.5 is float data type, and A is string, and 1 plus 3j is complex number. Okay, so such arrays are called um, heterogeneous arrays. Okay, and we are going to be implementing these methods. So length, get item, append, insert at, pop, remove, remove at, display, and resize method. And resize method is going to be private method, meaning it is not going to be accessible by the user. We are only going to be using internally. Okay, so let us take a look at each of these methods one by one. So I'm going to create an array and I'm going to name it as ARR. Okay, and I'm going to add few values to it. So 1, 3, 6, 2, 7, and 8. Okay, so this array has these values, and always remember the array's index value starts from 0 and it is going to end at length of array minus 1. So I'm going to start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so here is the first method, which is called length. So length basically returns us how many values this array has. So here we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this array has 6 values in it. So if we call length on this array, it is going to give us the value as 6. Okay. And as here you can see, the last index always ends with length of array minus 1. Okay. And the first index starts from 0. Okay. So if we call length on this array, it is going to return us 6. Okay, so that was about the length function. Now let's take a look at get item. So let's say we want to know what is the value present at third index. So we can basically call this array and we will use the square bracket notation, and if we pass 3, it is going to give us the value as 2 because 2 is present at third index. Okay, so that is about the get item method. Now let's take a look at append method. So what this append method is going to do is it is going to add an element at the end of this array. So I'm going to call this array off of which I'm going to call append method. So append. Let's say I want to add the number 9 at the end of this array. So now this array is going to have these values. So 1, 3, 6, 2, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. So append method is going to add an element at the end of the array. All right, now let's take a look at insert at. So let's say I want to add an element uh, 10 at the second index. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So let me call array dot insert. I want to insert, let's say 10 at second index. So what this insert method is going to do is it is going to insert 10 here. So before we insert, we need to create one space for this array to hold this item. Okay, so we are going to be right shifting all these elements. So 6 is going to go here, 2 is going to go here, 7 is going to shift here, 8 is going to shift here, and 9 is going to shift here. So here, as you can see, there is no space. So if there is no space, what we are going to do is we are going to call resize method, and we are going to resize this array. That is going to create more spaces. If it has space, then there is not going to be any problem. So let us assume that we have space over here. So let me quickly erase this square bracket, and let's say we have few more spaces here. Okay, so 9 is going to shift here. So what is going to happen now is, so we will add 1 comma 3 as they are. So we need to insert 10 at second position. Now we will insert 10 here, and likewise we will add the rest of the elements. So 7, 8, 9. So previously we had 3 spaces, now it is going to have 2 spaces. Okay, so this is how the um, insert at method works. Now let's take a look at pop. So what pop method is basically going to do is it is going to remove an element at the last index. So at the last index we have the value as the value which is present at last index is 9. So if I call array dot pop, okay, I don't need to pass anything inside this method, so it will just remove the element which is present at the last index, and it is going to return that value. Okay, so it will return, if I call array.pop, it is going to return me 9. Okay, in Python, in some of the programming languages, uh, sometimes if you remove an element, it is not going to return anything. But in Python and in some other programming languages, uh, they return the value which is present at the last index. Okay, so if I call array.pop, now we have the values like this: 1, 3, 10, 6, 2, 7, 8. Okay, so this is the pop method. And now the next method is going to be remove at. Okay, so let's say I want to remove 6. Okay, so it is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are the indices. So if I call array dot remove at, and I need to pass the index value here. So let's say I want to remove 6. I'm going to pass 3 here. All right, so now this will, what this method is going to do is it is going to remove 6, and it is going to left um, left shift all these values after the value which has been removed. Okay, so now we are going to have 1, 3, 10, 2, 7, and 8. Okay, so these are the indices: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so that is how the remove at method works. So the display method is basically going to display the array like this. So let's say 1, 2, 1, 3, 10, 2, 7. So if we call print on array, it is going to print the array like this. Okay, so we are going to be writing our own display method. Okay, you will see this when we start to code. Okay, so this is about the display. Now let us take a look at resize method. Okay, so let's say we have this array 1, 3, 10, 2, 7, 8. Okay, and we want to add an element at the end, or we want to insert an element somewhere in between, so it doesn't matter. Let us assume that we want to add an element. So let's say I want to add an element to this array. So array equals, I want to add or append. So let's take append. So I want to append 10 to this, not 10, 10 is already present. So let's say I want to append 12. Okay. So if you look into this array, there is no extra space. So how are we going to create an extra space? We are going to be using this resize method. So what resize method is going to do is it is going to create another array. So we will call it as B. Okay. And the size of this array is going to be the double the capacity of this array. So this array has how many items in it? So 1 2 3 4 5 6. It has 6. Now this array is going to have the capacity of 12 elements, holding 12 elements. So it is going to be like this: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. Okay. So it is going to have the capacity to hold 12 items, which is basically double the capacity of this. So 2 multiplied by capacity. Okay. And now once we create an array, double the capacity of this array, now we need to copy all these values here. So we will copy those. So 1, 3, 10, 2, 7, 8. Okay. And now the final step is to reassign this array to this array. So we will write it like this. So array will be now equal to B. So if we print array now, it is going to look like this. So 1, 3, 10, 2, 7, 8, and it is going to have these spaces as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And now we can finally add this item 12 here. Okay. So this is how the resize method works. So whenever we don't have any space to add an item, we are always going to be calling the resize method. Okay. So and it is going to be the private method, meaning we are going to be doing all the computation internally. Okay. So we will not allow the user to access this private method. Okay. So this was about the arrays. In the next video, let us implement the dynamic array from scratch. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next one.